Good morning. How is everyone? Thanks so much for joining us bright and early on day 2 of Google Cloud Next. I hope everyone had a wonderful time yesterday at one or many of the partner happy hours. One of my favorite parts of getting together at these events is being able to come together after all the sessions and have conversations with our customers and our partners. We're excited for you to join us today to have a conversation on data sharing, the role that we see data playing as part of our generative AI strategy, and how we're monetizing with some of our data providers and our partners for growth in BigQuery. Today, we're going to kick off the conversation with some insights from some of our Googlers, and then we're going to bring some of our leading data provider partners to the stage to have a conversation on how they're partnering together with Google Cloud, how they're monetizing their data in BigQuery, and best practices for anyone in the audience who may be thinking about how they can monetize their data with Google Cloud. My name is Dominique Nyzio. Most people call me Dom. I'm part of our Google Cloud partner ecosystem team, and as part of my role, I look after the relationships with a number of data providers, from onboarding and recruitment into our Partner Advantage program, all the way through to go-to-market activation and customer success. I think we can all agree that generative AI is the topic that's on everybody's mind, especially after sitting through Thomas's keynote yesterday and a number of the breakout sessions. The past year has been filled with AI. AI is a truly revolutionary technology that is disrupting industries left and right and driving business operational performances in ways that we never thought were possible. When we take a step back, though, and we start to unpack what makes generative AI real, it all comes down to data. Data is the key ingredient that is propelling every generative AI use case and demo that we've heard over the past few days. Data is the crucial ingredient for AI, as it's the foundation upon which machine learning algorithms learn, are grounded, make predictions, and drive enhancements over time. As a result, many of our enterprise customers are starting to ask us the question, do we have the right data strategy that allows for us to take advantage of the generative AI opportunity? At Google Cloud, we're committed to working together with our customers and our partners to help them harness not only the power of their first-party data, but also connect to industry-leading third-party data sources to drive a comprehensive data cloud strategy that allows for them to enable powerful analytics and AI for their customers. At Google Cloud, we have a growing, open, and innovative data ecosystem that includes our SaaS providers, our technology partners, our service integrators, and one of our most nascent partner types, data providers. We believe that data providers are in a unique position to help all of our customers train and tune their generative AI experiences because of the private corpuses of data that they have that aren't freely available on the web. Our data provider ecosystem is growing every day. We have over 3,500 data sets available for customers to consume in BigQuery today, and relationships with hundreds of data providers. Just yesterday, we announced new partnerships with the Associated Press and Circana. We're looking forward to continuing to grow this ecosystem over the next year. When we think about how we're working together with data providers, the partnership motion primarily comes down into 2 buckets. One, we're working together with our data providers to modernize how they're delivering data and providing that accelerated time to value for our customers. We recognize that a number of data providers that we work with today are not new to the data sharing space. They've been delivering data for hundreds of years. They've been delivering data on SFPT, dropping it into storage buckets, using APIs, and as our customers are moving forward and digitally transforming their business in the cloud, they're starting to ask the question of, can I receive that data directly in the cloud, directly in BigQuery? Being able to accelerate time to value, quickly combine that with their first-party data, and take advantage of all of the technologies and capabilities that offer in BigQuery. The second bucket is where we spend most of our time, innovation. We're working very closely with our data providers to drive new innovative use cases, new solutions, and generative AI experiences. I'm excited to bring forward a number of our data providers today for them to go a little bit deeper into the innovations that they're driving for their customers. We also hear significant interest from our customers and partners on working together with Google Cloud to modernize and monetize their data. We've broken it down into 3 buckets in terms of what the opportunity looks like for all of you. The first bucket focuses on modernization. So as we're able to help deliver that data directly in the cloud and modernize how a customer is receiving that data, it makes the data more sticky. They're able to continue to combine that with their first-party data, share that data across organizational boundaries to unlock new use cases for their organizations. We're also working very closely in expansion with our data providers. We're wrapping a full go-to-market and co-sell partnership across how we engage in a go-to-market landscape. This allows for us together to drive net new revenue opportunities and expansion, whether that be new business opportunities, upsell, or cross-sell. We're also working very closely with our data providers to explore new use cases, connecting to our industry solutions team, and exploring if there are opportunities to triangulate with other partners within our ecosystem, including our service integrators. Last but not least, innovation. We've heard a lot about innovation with generative AI over the past few days. Together with our data providers, their data can be used for predictive use cases today, but as we move into this new generative AI world, it creates new opportunities for how customers are taking hold of that data and using it in new ways. We're exploring how the data can be used for grounding, tuning, and training of large language models. We also have a number of data providers that are building out their own large language models or using Vertex AI and our generative AI capabilities to enhance their existing products, allowing for them to create new products on their SKU list or being able to charge for those data sets in new ways. So with that, I'm going to take a pause and hand it over to my partner in crime, Tom, to go a little bit deeper on how we're sharing data in BigQuery and driving new use cases for our customers.
Thank you, Dom. Good morning, everyone. As Dom said, my name is Tom Cannon, and I lead a program called Built with BigQuery. And what we do at Built with BigQuery is we work with ISVs and data providers to help accelerate innovation, to share best practices, to help them understand what the state of the art is, and how our technology can help them accelerate their innovation and growth. The other thing we do is we share their stories, we amplify their stories, and that's what this is all about today, is to help you all learn from some of the best practices that we're seeing in the industry, because many of the folks that you'll talk with today really are at the vanguard of innovation in the industry right now, and hopefully some of their stories will resonate with you. So I'd ask you to consider a couple of things. Can I just check quickly? Who's a data provider in this audience? Who would classify themselves? Okay, quite a few. That must mean that the rest of you are customers. So I would urge you to think about this session in two ways. One is, are there data assets that you have within your organization that you can leverage in similar ways to the ways that some of these innovators are? And the other thing to consider is, are there partners that you're already working with, or perhaps one of the folks here on the stage today, that you could work with further in order to accelerate your innovation down the Gen AI path with minimal investment from yourselves? So we're seeing two key trends in the industry. Dom's already touched on this. The first is data sharing. We've seen an explosion in data sharing. I think all data professionals are realizing that their first-party data can really be more powerful if augmented with third-party data from providers like the guys that you'll see today. And the other, of course, is AI. Now, from a technological perspective within Google Cloud, that really translates to two products. Analytics Hub is a zero-copy data sharing capability, and of course, Vertex AI is our AI capability. What brings those together is BigQuery. And the reason BigQuery, and I'm sure you've heard this today, but the reason BigQuery is such a powerful platform is because it is the only platform in the industry that completely unifies the data and AI experience, right from the base level of infrastructure and TPUs and GPUs, all the way through to a unified experience at the front end. There's no need to move your data about from one system to another or rely on APIs of different systems and from different vendors. Everything is self-contained. Whether you need first-party models, whether you need third-party models, or whether you need open source models to tune and augment your models, your own models, they're available within BigQuery without the need to move your data. So we really are enabling you to bring AI to your data. And there's one area I want to focus on just in a little more detail, is that storage layer. Because we talk a lot about how we can support structured data and semi-structured data and unstructured data, but what is often missed in that conversation is the fact that we can also support third-party data without the need to copy that data in. You can simply subscribe to it and make it available within your BigQuery instance in order for you to do things like tune your models, train your models, retrieval, augmented generation, etc. So as of this week, we now have 3 products in our portfolio of data sharing. The first of those is Analytics Hub, zero copy, secure, simplified data sharing from within BigQuery. Really, I think of it as an easy button if you want to get a data set into your environment. The second that went GA just last week is Data Clean Rooms. Data Clean Rooms is based on the Analytics Hub platform, but introduces the capability to have privacy controls so that you can have a low-trust environment with your customers or with your partners to share data in a collaborative way, in a way that protects the way that you need your data to be shared in a privacy-conscious way. And then last is the Entity Resolution Framework, which enables you to join your first-party data with the identity graphs and the other data that your providers have without the need, again, to move data between systems. We do that seamlessly without the old-fashioned ways of moving data from one system to another and sending files back and forth. So, when working with data providers, we've started to see the emergence of a few use case categories, a few areas that people are really doubling down on. And we've done this research based on talking to hundreds of different providers, understanding where they're focusing their energy, what's being successful, what's not. What's interesting about this list is that it's a different list to the ones you might normally see. When you often hear about the use cases that are gaining traction in the industry around Gen AI, it's often things like customer service use cases, chatbots, etc. And of course, that's still present here, and many of the customers are using it for that. But actually, the areas that people are really focusing in this industry are slightly different. I think that's interesting because it might shine a different light on some areas that you can innovate. So there are 2 categories, really, we think of when we talk to partners. The first is those who are building AI capabilities into their own products. So, for example, a software as a service product, a SaaS product, they're building these capabilities into that product itself. And of course, through data sharing, those partners are also able to share the data with their customers, and the customers are then innovating on top of that data. And we track those use cases as well, because those are often the most powerful. We're empowering customers to innovate in ways that may not be initially apparent to the data provider. So the first really classic use case that we're seeing everywhere right now is adding a natural language interface to the data. So you might have seen some of these announcements recently with, for example, the announcement of Data Canvas that we're doing within BigQuery. And many partners are building similar UIs based around their data. So it enables a non-technical user to access the data using natural language. And this is a really incredible, almost paradigm shift in the industry. We're seeing a trend here that is going to unlock access to data, to democratize that data in ways that we're really only starting to see the beginning of. Because suddenly we're in an era where a business user can literally ask questions of data. They can ask questions about their business, and the data can reply, and they can engage in interaction with that data in ways that they never could before. They would have to talk to a technical team who would write queries, build reports, etc. So we really see this as a new era in data and a fundamental change, which we could, it's a genie that we can never put back in the bottle. The second is around unlocking the power and the latent value in unstructured data. So oftentimes we have vendors who have images, they might have documents, they might have audio transcripts, even videos. Previously, the insight and the value inside those unstructured data sets was locked within them. It was too hard to get out. At best, you might be able to do some keyword-based search and pull back those documents. Now we can do so much more with them. We can understand the meaning within them. We can do semantic search. We can understand exactly what's going on in a document. But more than that, we can look across several documents, and we can summarize the trends within them. We can look for patterns, and we can pull those out. What previously would have been somebody looking at each document individually based on keyword searches and analyzing themselves, we can now ask a Gen AI model to summarize the key trends. We can ask them to look back over time and tell us what's going on without the need to do that work itself, and all, of course, with references to the data. And then the last trend we see there is really building on the first 2, which is data enrichment. Right? So we have these data sets, but now we can start to do things like classify them. We can start to do things like classify the sentiment of data, or even add additional data. We can add summaries to data that previously wasn't available to add real meaning to it. So if you're a vendor who is already providing these data sets, there's potential to do so much more with the data you already have. And for one of my favorite examples, we're working with a partner who has for a long time been capturing audio transcripts of analyst calls. And of course, those transcripts have been transcribed into text. They were searchable, but now they can do so much more. They can ask questions of that data. They can ask for trends over the last few calls of what's happening with that organization in ways they never could before. So a really interesting time to be a data provider, and we're starting to see many, many more use cases being unlocked. So if we now look at those customer use cases, what are customers doing with data? The first of those is data-driven content generation. So if you think about how we would previously generate content, you might say, well, I'm building some content out for a certain, a large business or corporate business in a certain area for a certain product. And you would handcraft those messages. What we're seeing now is that people are using data sets to automatically generate that content so that the person who's going to send it may still want to do a review, but we have highly personalized content based on data sets, without the need for a human to go through and manually craft different messages for different audiences. We're also seeing this used to really streamline workflows. So if you are somebody in a branch who has to make a bunch of sales calls, you can pull together your first-party data, your CRM data, with data from someone like ZoomInfo or CoreLogic, to help to augment that data so that you can have a far finer understanding of where you should be focusing your time, the types of conversations you might be having, the sorts of products you might be focused on, and many, many other areas where people are using this third-party data to really streamline their activities. And then last of all, of course, is model augmentation. So this is an area where we're seeing so much innovation. So the classic example, of course, is retrieval augmented generation, where you might have an LLM that's been you're using internally, but you can now use that to ask questions of third-party data if you need to. But of course, we're also seeing it used for tuning and other use cases that are still emerging. So a really exciting time in that space. So that's it from me. I wanted to give you a framework to think about some of the things you're going to hear today, because these really are trends that are starting to really grow and accelerate in the industry right now. But you don't have to take my word for it. What we're going to do now is invite our guests to the stage who are going to talk through their experience and hopefully bring some of this to life. So please join me in giving them a warm welcome. Thank you. Cheers.
Good morning, panelists. How are you this morning?
Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us at Google Cloud Next.
Happy to be here.
I don't know about you, but I'm pleasantly surprised to see so many folks in the audience at the 8 a.m. session.
Good job, it's Vegas.
So thanks for everyone for being here. Yes, woo! Okay, so let's jump into the conversation. As we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, and how you're partnering together with Google Cloud. Naftali, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And to Dom's point, seriously, thanks for being here 8 a.m. That's ambitious for Vegas on, what must have been a late night last night. So my name's Naftali Cohen. I'm the Global Head of Partner Cloud Strategy at LSEG. I've been with LSEG for about 2 years. I came there from a company called Maystreet, which is a market data technology company where I was CRO. LSEG acquired us. And at LSEG, I focus on our relationships with our cloud partners. So along with GCP, I work with AWS, Azure, Databricks, and Snowflake. So it's an interesting vantage point in seeing what all of our partners are doing there, and it's an exciting time. LSEG, to those of you who do not know, is more than just the exchange. We're a 220-year-old company with offices in 120 countries, 25,000 employees, and we're the largest financial services data and technology company. Our work to date with GCP, which we've been doing for about 3 years, it relates to our tick history offering. So that's data that's captured at the exchanges. There's 550 exchanges where we capture this data. And then we take this data, structure it, and push it into BigQuery. It's about 20 petabytes of data, which is a massive amount of data, which equates to date to 92 trillion rows of data in BigQuery. So absolutely large sets of data and a great use case for BigQuery.
Thanks, Naftali. Stacy, over to you.
Hi, yeah, I'm Stacy Roach. I'm with ZoomInfo, and next week have been there 3 months, so super cool. But so I started my career in sales and sales management a long time ago, and I say that so that you understand that I come at this. I've always been passionate about using data and technology in go-to-market motions. Back when it was super manual and hard, and paper-driven, some of it, actually. And then I ran my own CRM consultancy for a while because I love CRM and technology. And then I took a deep dive into data, became a certified data management professional, joined Inside View, and then helped build out data strategy consulting for their customers. And then subsequently was acquired by Demandbase, built a data strategy team for Demandbase for their go-to-market customers, and then was recruited over to ZoomInfo, where I'm really super happy now. I'm part of the Data as a Service organization, or DAS, as we say. And what we find is that our platform supports a bunch of different use cases for go-to-market. So that could be sales intelligence, marketing, revenue operations, talent acquisition as well, and we also have the chat, our Chorus product, which uses amazing AI to capture notes from meetings, which saves me because I'm a terrible note taker. And then we have a great partnership with Google and BigQuery because we deliver these huge company cubes and contact cubes and millions of rows of behavioral data like intent and websites. And so you have to have a really robust cloud partner in order to be able to do that. And our customers are seeing such value in being able to use BigQuery and the Analytics Hub to not have to have no copy and analytics from those data sets.
Well, we're happy to have you as part of the ZoomInfo team, Stacy. Anand?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anand Singh. I am a product executive at CoreLogic. I oversee 3 product lines: our location intelligence solutions, our marketing solutions, and our generative AI property search and insight solutions. Just a bit about CoreLogic. We are a property and location data and analytics company headquartered in the US, but we also have presence in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, UK, and a few other countries in Europe. If you think about the property and location data industry, just by the numbers, just in US, $43.5 trillion, that's the valuation of the US real estate industry. It's the single biggest asset class in the planet. And we manage and master data for all properties in the US, all 157 million of those. We're collecting thousands of data points about every single property, whether it's residential, commercial, agricultural, vacant land, you name it. Our data supply chain that underpins all of that is not made up of 1 or 2 data sources. It's 22,000 data sources that we're actively acquiring, aggregating, transforming, building analytics and insights on top of, resulting in 5.5 billion records. And not just the data itself, we also have more than 250 data science, AI, and ML models. Solutions also used by a wide variety of markets and industries. Our solutions serve 1.25 million real estate professionals here in the US. We have more than 900 mortgage banks and lenders that use our solutions, hundreds of insurers, property management companies, cap market companies, federal agencies, to also companies like telecommunication, railroads, oil and gas, energy, renewable, EV charging. It's a very, very wide breadth and depth of industries and markets that use our data.
Thanks, Anand. So we talked a little bit about BigQuery. Tell us a little bit more about the role that you see BigQuery playing as part of your cloud data distribution strategy. Anand, we'll start with you.
Yeah, BigQuery in our supply chain almost serves as the heart of it.
Yeah.
And I mean it almost in a literal way. The reason I say that, of course, the factors behind that, the scalability that it provides, the performance to go with it, but also BigQuery helps us serve as our enterprise single source of truth. It's very interesting because not many people realize that property industry is a very opinionated industry and full of biases. If you think about a listing agent, all they care about projecting the right image of a property, capturing the right attribution that reflects the property in a way that helps them sell the property at a higher valuation. But the bias of an appraiser is going to be very different. The bias of a tax assessor is going to be very different. The bias of a claim adjuster is going to be very different. So we build a lot of data science models with the data sitting in BigQuery that not only help us come out of these opinions and biases, but also overlay a lot of our data science models on top of. So as I said, it's the heart of our data supply chain. It's the heart, just like how the heart pumps blood into the organs within a body. BigQuery for us, it provides data into all of our product and solutions. It's where all of our data science models, AI and ML models are feeding off of. It's where how our consumers are using and plugging this data into their workflows, into their solutions for their strategic decision making. And it's also the heart that also is pumping into being a data provider into how our consumers can access with things like Google Analytics Hub as well.
I'm going to steal that analogy. I like that one. Stacy, how would you build on that?
Yeah, so as I said before, we have over 225 million company records and 240 million contact records, probably more than that since the last time I checked the numbers because we're constantly adding to our data set. And then we have the ability to help our customers by providing through BigQuery a way to take all of that data, and oftentimes we're in a multi-vendor sourcing situation. But the thing that customers struggle with is their own poor first-party data, which is dirty and bad. So the ability to take and build a golden record outside of their applications and then pull in all these different data sources and validate them and then be able to quickly run analytics and supply all the other go-to-market or whatever their use cases are, like enrichment for the ability to have better segmentation or determine what your TAM or your ICP is, total addressable market, ideal customer profile. I told myself I wasn't going to speak in acronyms. That's our industry.
You know that one.
Yeah, but and so BigQuery just provides the ability for them to do that at scale with amazing performance and really just enhances their whole use cases for their go-to-market use.
Powerful. Naftali?
Sure. So I'm really excited about what this offers for financial services. If you look at the use case that I described where we're servicing our customers with tick history, it really is a perfect example. And if you look at the combined solution of taking BigQuery and high-quality data that we offer, it really is changing the industry. You can look at the customers, I can't name them, unfortunately, but you have some of the most sophisticated quant hedge funds in the world that traditionally would be built internal and would not even consider using a vendor for pretty much anything, and definitely not anything core to what they're doing. And today, they've come around to sourcing data from other providers like us, and two, they're using BigQuery for all of their analysis, which, again, in the past is something that they invested, tens of millions of dollars to run and to actually use over here. Now look at what we're able to provide today by bringing the joint offering. We're able to turn on this environment for pretty much anyone that wants to trade in their basement. And not only can they have access to this high quality data, they can use tooling at that level. They also have the ability to bring other data sources similar to what was described by the other panelists over here. Right. If you have an interesting idea and you want to take data from CoreLogic and link it up with market data, now it's trivial to do. You just need to be entitled for that additional data set, and you can run whatever strategy you think in theory can work. And it's significant to talk about the pieces that we're removing along the way over here. So if we dig a little deeper at what that actually means, in the past, you'd actually have to capture this data yourself. Like I mentioned, we have 550 venues. So you have to put infrastructure in each of these exchanges, capture that data, store it, save it. Each format is different. You have to write feed handlers to parse that data, and then you have to do the data wrangling and push it into some sort of environment that can be used, within your org. Now all that is removed, and you just need to basically log in, and it's sitting there and waiting there. It's really exciting to see what this provides and the opportunity that it opens up for our customers to do things that they couldn't do before.
Yeah, it's powerful. We had some conversations with some of our joint customers yesterday, and we heard that feedback directly from their mouths of being able to drive new use cases and things that they never thought were possible before. So we heard from Tom a little bit about how BigQuery and data sharing is also propelling some of our generative AI use cases. We have to ask the question about Gen AI, right? How do you see Gen AI changing the game for data providers, yourself and others? Maybe Naftali, we'll start with you. Work our way back.
Sure. I mean, Gen AI, despite it becoming at the front and center, has been around for a little bit, and it's still evolving. The joke is people say that today Gen AI is great at writing poetry and creating art, when in reality you want it to do everything else so you can write poetry and create art.
Someone yesterday said it was like Harry Potter's magic wand.
Yeah, but it really is a layer that allows for people to do things in a non-intimidating way, using natural language to ask questions of the data. which in the past and still commonly across financial services, you'll have the front office that is doing the trading and have the ideas, but then there's a big operational support on the back end. And if you have a question, you kick it back to someone that then needs to write the SQL queries and wrangle the data and bring the answer, and it takes a lot of time. Today, already, we have a pilot with GCP on BigQuery for this. You could just start asking questions of the data, like, give me the VWAP for the security over a certain duration of time, and evaluate it versus another symbol or another period of time, and you could get the response in seconds over here. So there's a lot of efficiency that it opens up, and really, despite it being around for a while, it's really in its infancy and use cases and applications over here. I think it's only going to get more intelligent. It's going to be able to assist you in looking at what you're trying to do and give you suggestions in a way that are incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it's interesting to see no longer these giant sources of data are intimidating. It's something that anyone can interact with, creating more ability for users across the organization to be able to take advantage of that. Stacy, what do you think?
Yeah, I sort of see Gen AI kind of democratizing access to huge amounts of data, right? So to your point, you don't have to have data science team to write models and pull and wrangle the data and do all the data pre-processing to get you to an answer that will help you make more faster, efficient decisions in your business. For ZoomInfo, we're actually going to launch our Copilot product soon. And it is an AI tool, rides on top of our sales and marketing intelligence platform. So for years, in fact, we were just named as Forrester's leader in the data category for sales and marketing, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So a lot of sales, marketing, and RevOps folks have relied on our data. But I kind of think of it as we used to, and we've talked about this internally with our executives, we're telling them, here's all the data, pull whatever you need. It's here for you. We do some suggestions and account scoring and all that kind of AI in the background. But this Copilot's really going to change the model from you have to pull it to we're going to push it. And it's going to really, again, democratize, I'm not sure some of our top sales leaders don't love to hear this, but our tagline is it's going to make every seller your best seller. So why not give everybody even the playing field and give everybody all the information and the insights in order to meet their goals?
Yeah, powerful. Anand?
Well, just like how my co-panelist said here, AI is not new. It's been part of our core DNA for many, many years. You think about property data, we have AI models predicting values of properties. We have models that assess risk around properties. We have models that extract attribution out of imagery. What Gen AI is doing now is elevating experience. The way it is doing, I actually liked how Thomas had put it in his keynote yesterday. He spoke about coding agents, where within CoreLogic, we now have Gen AI powering our developers write better and faster code. He spoke about security agents. CoreLogic, we're doing the same thing. He spoke about customer service agent. We now have LLMs powering a lot of our customer service chats on our front-end portals. He spoke about data agent. And at CoreLogic, we're also using data agents to power a lot of analytics that we can derive out of our data. I'll add fifth to it that we are using to elevate that experience. Let's call it analytics and insights agent. And the reason I say that is the elevation of experience now comes from all of our clients not having to be trained on the solutions of CoreLogic, but rather just come in and have a conversation. Of course, that conversation is backed by the grounded truth data that we have that I spoke about earlier. It's already powered by the AI and ML models that we already have. But now you don't need to understand what buttons to push or how to use the solution. We now have mortgage lenders come into our solution and say, hey, what's my risk profile? What is my market share? How am I performing in a certain area compared to some of my competitors? We have insurer carriers who are coming in to say, which properties in my portfolio are the highest risk? We have telecommunication companies coming in and having a chat about where should I be expanding my fiber and 5G coverage into? So Gen AI layer on top of AI, for us, it's all about experience.
And how are you thinking about monetizing as data and AI are propelling these new solutions and this new way of using data? How are you thinking about monetizing it for your customers?
Yeah, monetization is actually very interesting because what we're realizing, Gen AI is opening up a lot of new doors with the experience that I spoke about. And I'll give you that with few examples. So think about a listing agent or an appraiser whose day-to-day job is to use the data. They are either building out appraisal reports, or they're clicking images, they're filling out and writing listing description.
Right.
The experience that we're now creating through our solution for them is for a listing agent or an appraiser to go into a house, click a bunch of photographs. Hey, Gen AI, write a listing description for me. Write an appraisal report for me. Write a claim adjustment report for me. That's the change of experience, and we believe that it's going to leapfrog the experience for the property professionals that we serve.
Significantly.
That's going to open up a lot of monetization opportunities for them and for us as well.
Stacy, how are you thinking about monetizing? It's
Yeah,
a pilot.
Yeah, a lot of our customers, so first-party data is critical in monetization, I think. So you know, you have a lot of information and data at your disposal in your own internal systems. The shortcoming there is that you really need to validate that and build that like source of truth. And so supplement your first-party data with third-party data, and maybe more than one source, so that you can really look at a holistic picture of whatever data point it is you're trying to monetize. So, and you know, again, validating your own internal first-party data with third-party support will enable you to really rely on those huge data models and language models in order to monetize and make really some magic happen with all of that data.
Naftali, you talked a little bit about a POC that we have in place. How are you guys thinking about monetization on the LSEG side?
Yeah, I think there's two aspects. If we look at the short term and we look at the longer term of where things are going, and both are interesting. You know, in the short term, it just enables us to make our data available in ways that we couldn't in the past. You know, our models were predicated on selling data in certain types of packages, and now we have the ability using Analytic Hub to slice it into different chunks and give access, and to limit the access in ways that were difficult to do before. So that in its own, you know, facilitates certain use cases that we couldn't service before and address. But if you look a little longer term of where things are going, there's a huge shift of cost that's going from what traditionally were hardware type of expenses that are now shifting to the joint solutions that we're bringing together. We're working with big tech, with GCP, to invest in building these solutions, and we're removing, you know, these building blocks that existed before and creating a new structure. So I think overall, the models are going to change significantly. Consumption models increasingly are becoming more and more prevalent, and I think that's the general direction that they go. So we may not adopt and offer our solutions in this model today, but if you look longer term, I expect that that will be the direction that we go in.
It's interesting to see 3 different organizations all thinking about it similarly, but also a little bit differently. Experience and democratizing data and different access points. So it's interesting to kind of think, you know, we're just getting started, right? So what are some of the other opportunities that are going to be available as we continue to grow and drive value for our customers? So one final question we're going to close with. We have a number of different partners in the audience who may be thinking about monetizing data. We have some customers in the audience who may be realizing that they have data that might be valuable for customers. Can you share with us one piece of advice or a best practice that somebody could take advantage of as they think about going on their data journey with Google Cloud? Maybe Stacy, we'll start with you.
Sure. So I think you know, if you're a data-driven organization, and if you're going to rely at all on Gen AI, you are a data-driven organization, then you need to make sure that your data is covering you. And I use this little acronym to remind myself what it is. Sometimes I say TRAP, but it's really TARP. So data needs to be trusted, it needs to be accurate, recent, and prescriptive. And in order to get to that last one, again, you need that holistic view of a golden record. And so I think my advice would be to really take a look at, you know, data partners and the technology available through BigQuery to really, again, democratize and provide data to all of your teams that need access quickly and accurately.
Naftali, we've been on this journey for a little while now. Any best practices that you'd like to share with the audience today?
Yeah, sure. So as you could tell I'm excited about the opportunity this presents. So I would say it really is a generational opportunity over here. There's this tremendous investment from tech to come and build with us, and it's an opportunity to really fix a lot of the problems that all of our organizations have, and that could be, you know, with making our tech stacks modernized. It's making discrete data sets, you know, consistent. And I would say the advice would be to look at this opportunity and be very thoughtful of what you are doing over here. Not everything belongs in cloud, and not everything should be just lifted and shifted into cloud over here. I would say try to build in a way that gives you a lot of optionality for the future, and take advantage of the three major things that it provides over here. One, it could be tremendous improvement in performance over here and quality of data. You have the ability to really have a golden source of data that you store in a central location and work with it in different formats, where in the past you may have sourced that same data from different sources and had inconsistent data across the org. Now you can buy a single source of data and work with it in your org to power all the different systems that you need to do, right? And so we're talking about the performance benefit that comes there, the interoperability of that data. So again, your org can now support many different use cases and all work with the same stack. And in the past, we couldn't do that. So again, a chance to improve the collaboration within the organization. And then third is a major reduction in TCO, right? It's an opportunity to remove a lot of waste over here, to introduce a lot of efficiency over here. So I would say treat this, carefully and thoughtfully over here, but also it's an exciting opportunity that we should all look to leverage and work together. And finally, again, we're all on this journey. It's early, and there's an aspect of education. So I'd say be very comfortable with the fact that no one is truly an expert over here. We're all early on this path together. Be honest about it, and we work together. And the potential over here is tremendous and vast.
Yeah, we're all learning together, and that's why we're excited to have all of you guys here listening to hearing some of the best practices, and we'll continue to share all of these success stories and best practices as we continue to go on this journey together. Anand, last but not least, one final piece of advice.
Well, I'm going to steal your tagline earlier. I liked it when you said the AI needs to be fueled by data, and your data needs to be unlocked by AI. For the data providers, if I had to wrap my advice in a single word, it's simplicity. Simplicity not in the data or the analytics or the AI. That needs to be sophisticated, state of the art. But rather simplicity in how easy can we make our clients to consume those analytics, to consume those insights. The mantra that we operate under is to meet the customers where they are at. The easier we make it for our customers to access these analytics and insights, more value we will end up creating for them and for ourselves. That's the reason why we're investing with Google in enabling our data in Google Analytics Hub. That's the reason why we're investing in Gen AI to elevate the experience that I spoke about.
Yeah, making it easier for our customers. Everything that we do is ultimately in service of how do we make it easier, how do we create more value. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today. I know that a number of people in the audience, we may have some questions, so we do have some QR codes up on the back here to learn a little bit more about the partnerships that we have or to get in touch with any of our speakers. We will stick around for a couple of minutes off to the side if anyone has any thoughts, questions, concerns. I'm happy to have some conversations offline as well. A few final plugs. I'm sure that you have seen this slide in a number of the different sessions, but don't forget to take advantage of some of the different opportunities that are available for you coming out of Google Cloud Next. And last but not least, feedback is always important to us here at Google. So we appreciate you logging into the app, share your feedback with us. Any comments, concerns, things that you want to hear as we continue to drive different sessions over the course of the year, we'd love to hear from all of you. So thanks again, panelists.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Thanks.